Hello, welcome to this update. So, we just want to mention some important stuff that has changed in the forecast here for the U.S. and Canada. So, this is a very quick video today, but let's see what's happening. So, a few hours ago, they had a slight risk there in parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, but now it just downgraded to a marginal risk of severe weather. So today's two marginals there, Wisconsin and one from southeast Texas to Indiana. So tornado threat just in the south there, 2%, like in Arkansas, Louisiana, southeastern West Texas, and Mississippi. So be careful there. Wind in both areas and no hail. So let's see. Locally damaging winds, perhaps a tornado too may occur across parts of the lower mid Mississippi valleys and central southern Wisconsin. So be careful today in those areas. Tomorrow we have a slight risk in parts of the Keys there and a marginal because of Hurricane Raphael that will pose a tornado threat. It won't impact the Keys directly, it'll pass west, but the rain bands might pass through there and pose a tornado threat. So tornado 5 and 2% in the Keys, wind no, and hail no. So be aware. And also, as I didn't say in the hurricane video, if you are like in Cuba, the Cayman Islands, also be aware of tornadoes there associated with this system. And let's see, a couple of brief tornadoes were possible within the outer bands of Tropical Cyclone Raphael from late morning into the evening Wednesday across the Keys and far southern peninsula of Florida. So be careful there with some water spouts and tornadoes. Day 3, another marginal risk in Texas. And so let's see some storms in the south. So isolated severe thunderstorms are possible beginning Thursday afternoon across central West Texas, in parts of Texas. So be aware there. And this might affect northern Mexico too. So be aware. And let's see, day 4 through 8, nothing yet. Fire, just an elevated parts of California today, some elevated fire threat, and because of some gusty wind and dry conditions there. So be aware, but tomorrow is completely different. We have an area of extreme weather fire threat there. Santa Clarita, a Thousand Oaks, Semi Valley, and Moore Park and some other areas. So please be careful there with the wildfire danger tomorrow. And extremes are critical, most of Southern California that critical, and elevated further north as well. So let's see. Afternoon update. Confidence remains that a high offshore wind event will develop across much of Southern California beginning early Wednesday and continuing to Thursday morning. Santa Ana winds associated with gusts of 60 miles per hour are possible across Los Angeles and Ventura counties. Strong winds overlap with very low relative humidity, 8 to 10%, support extremely critical fire weather conditions. So be careful in those areas. And yeah, they say some other stuff here if you want to read. So be careful. Don't do any activities associated with like fire, not to cause any fires, and stay away from any active fire. So let's see, there's still the snow today in the mountains of the northwest. Montana, still some heavy snow. The storms in the south. And day 2, the Hurricane Raphael, the tornadoes, and shows some flood in Georgia and South Carolina, because I mentioned a few days ago in the tropical updates that we'll have that moisture surge there, and the critical fire, and let's see, and the heavy snow still in New Mexico, parts of Montana, and those areas. And yeah, so be aware. Day 3 still in New Mexico and Colorado, some heavier snow and general storms in the south. So be aware, excessive rainfall is light risk today in parts of eastern Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Kentucky, and a margin around it. Day 2 was light in Georgia and South Carolina, and a margin all the way to Florida. Day 3 is still a margin in the southeast in parts of Texas and New Mexico, Oklahoma, those areas. Day 4 is light in Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas, and a margin in Washington. And day 5, just a margin there in the mid-south. So be careful with that rain. Precipitation today and tomorrow shows close to 5 inches in Georgia and South Carolina, especially tomorrow. So be careful, some flooding there. And shows more near the Keys, close to 3 inches and a half, and some other areas of the west. Day 1 through 3 shows bikini around Texas again, that heavy rain. Day 1 through 5, more like Kentucky, Tennessee, and those areas, and some in the southeast too. And day 1 through 7, a lot in the northwest from those systems that we might make a longer discussion about those systems later this week, and shows in the plains there in those areas. So be careful. Snowfall shows the higher probabilities in Montana today, parts of northern Wyoming, some parts of Utah, Colorado area, and Idaho, and in the northwestern Oregon in some mountains, and southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, some more snow. Day 2 shifts into Colorado and New Mexico, so heavier snow. Day 3 still there. Day 4 still a little bit of snow there, some in Washington. Day 5 some in the north. Day 6 more in the northwest. Day 7 across the west. So be aware of those systems coming there. But now there's the winter storm severity index that's very high parts of New Mexico and Colorado from this snow coming. So there shows some areas of major impacts, southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, in those areas. So be aware, this is 1 through 3. Day 1, prepare just in Montana, some areas of major, moderate, Colorado. Day 2, New Mexico, and day 3, more New Mexico. So be aware. The main threat of this is the snowfall amount. Snow load, some but not really. The ice accumulation, maybe in North Dakota, a thing or two, but really nothing. Flash freeze, nothing. Blowing snow, mainly Montana, but some in the south. And ground blizzard, thing or two in Montana, but not really. So be careful in those areas. Now, let's see, we have the winter storm watches: New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, Panhandle, and Texas. The tropical storm warnings in the Keys, the red flag warnings, high wind warnings in California, some like storm warnings even in the ocean, the Santa Ana winds, and some winter storm warnings in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, wind weather advisories, and wind warnings in southeastern Wyoming. So be aware, some flood advisories, flood warnings, those areas there, and more. So be aware. In Canada, we have some wind warnings in northern Quebec, the snowfall warnings in Alberta, and British Columbia, some stuff in Yukon. So Alberta, the snowfall, you can click on the warning here and those locations to see more information. The links in the description. British Columbia rainfall, north coast, including Stewart, Nunavut, a snowfall warning, King Guide. Quebec, the blizzard warnings, northern Quebec. So this is blizzard, snow, and wind and blowing snow causing blizzard conditions. Poor visibility will improve this evening, so be careful. Saskatchewan, the snowfall warning, southwestern Saskatchewan, and Yukon, the blizzard warning, Dempster. So you can check here for more precise information, and stay safe there. Just as a quick summary, the snowfall until Sunday shows a lot in New Mexico and Colorado, Oklahoma Panhandle, those areas, more across British Columbia, especially northern British Columbia and Alaska, that heavier snow in the Pacific, the snow in Montana, Wyoming, and shows more central Quebec there, some more snow in northern Ontario, other parts of Manitoba, Nunavut, and northwestern territories. So be aware in those areas, and some in Newfoundland too, northern Nova Scotia, even a thing or two in New Hampshire, but nothing crazy. So be aware in those areas. Shows like here, the European model does have this to like some 32 inches of snow, parts of Colorado, New Mexico, and 34 or 29 inches. So be aware. The GFS doesn't have as much, but if you zoom in closer, it's like 32 to 33 inches there as well. So be careful in those areas. And here does have that snow in northern British Columbia, northwestern British Columbia, close like 100 million, 170 centimeters of snow, more in Alaska and those areas. So be aware. The rainfall in Canada shows more like in Atlantic Canada, some rain and snow. In Quebec, especially southern Ontario, a little bit of rain. And those areas of the west shows all the way to like one, 11 inches, close to like 200 millimeters there. So be careful in those areas. And those areas there, snow shows snow the over those areas as well, but there are like snow and rain, so be careful with the rain. It shows this season in Alaska, right? Some strong wind gusts there. There's some strong winds in other areas, so be careful. Those are the season to harvest in Canada. Some gusty winds until Friday, and into eastern Canada and the northeastern US, some stronger winds on Friday. So yeah, and more systems on the Pacific, especially on Saturday the 9th, big system there with some high winds and snowfall. So we'll talk about more about that later too. So be careful. Now, just let's see some like some wind gust or something here. So there's still those colder temperatures in the northwest, a little bit higher in the south, and like tonight, Tuesday until tomorrow, Wednesday, still shows those very low temperatures, some teens and single digits in parts of Wyoming and Idaho, and the higher elevations of Colorado and Utah, and those areas. So be aware there. And day two for tomorrow during the day, Wednesday, still cold there, some 20s and 30s and even less in the mountains, and kind of hot in the southeast still. Not that some May is in the mid-Atlantic, so yeah. And shows some 70s in California for the critical fire. And day two does show uh, from Wednesday to Thursday, those very cold temperatures in Colorado, those areas, those purple areas might be like close to like 1 Fahrenheit or something. So let's see if we can see Colorado here. So this Wednesday night to Thursday show like 3 Fahrenheit, 2 Fahrenheit, 7 Fahrenheit, cold and like some that negative temperatures in all those blue areas and white areas. So be careful, those very cold temperatures there. And day three for, for Thursday does show like uh, the whole area here. So let's see. Still kind of warmer in the southeast, so above average temperatures in the mid-Atlantic still and northeast, and those are cold temperatures in the west there, some 60s, 70s on the west coast. And Thursday night to Friday does show those very cold temperatures, those teens and 20s there, even lower. And the north and northeast, in New England, some 30s again, and more in the north there. So be aware in those areas. The 24-hour max swing us, like today's Monday until midday Tuesday. So let's see if it includes that fire threat. So they do have in California close to 65 mile per hour, like 60. So 65 like middle yellow. So that's like brownish there. Might be close to even 70 mile per hour occasionally in the higher mountains there. But high winds in those areas. Further north into California so far is 50s too. And more in Montana and those areas. So be careful in those areas and like uh, the 48-hour snowfall until Thursday does show close like 16 to 20 inches parts of Colorado's already, New Mexico some more, the higher elevations of Montana, Wyoming. So yeah, be aware in those areas. Now, one last thing, just a temperature recap. Still very cold there. Parts of northern Canada, so minus 17, minus 23 in Alaska, so like very cold too, some 20s and teens Fahrenheit, and even some negative Fahrenheit in parts of northern Alaska and some areas. And then shows more there across Quebec and Ontario, some colder temperatures too. This is Saturday. Why is it on Saturday? So as you can see here, Friday, this is the colder temperatures at night, central Canada, northern Quebec there, very cold. Thursday shows those cold temperatures in Alberta, British Columbia, so minus 11 in the mountains, very cold in the north still. The south might be a little bit less southern Ontario, but very cold in those other areas.